Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. We got to talk about RuPaul's Drag Race episode 4 from season 13.
Episode 4, yes, but if hey, but first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll learn to speak.
Yes. And if you'd like to support us on Patreon, where Sarah is very excellent at early, as little as $1 a month, there's a link in the description. We are starting Survivor Micronesia this week.
Micronesia, gotta get it. Yep, that'll be up Thursday, you guys. Yay!
First drag.
But first, Drag Race. Okay, so this is our first episode where we got all the ladies together.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of forgot. I was until this very moment. It's kind of like what we expect to see from an episode 1, but now it's so much more because we know all of these girls so much better thanks to the first 3 episodes. So it's kind of fun to see them all together, which is kind of how it starts with the winning queens waiting in the workroom, and we're excited to see what they're going to think when they see us standing here, blah, blah, blah. And then they like concoct this fun plan for Elliot to hide. Conveniently, there's a room divider right there.
Convenient.
And you could hide behind that thing that's just right there. It's just sitting.
That feels produced, but whatever. Elliot's like scurry and wants to, hide and like jump out later, or at least eavesdrop or whatever. So B Squad walks in, and of course A Squad is all like, B Squad's here. And they're like,
Yeah, but it's all like kind of fun shade back and forth, right? Because I think they all eventually understood, like, we're all going to come together. There's 12 to 13 girls here. We're going to like start the season and it's going to be normal. So I think they're mostly just kind of excited to see each other. But of course, the moments that are making it into the edit are this like, fingernail tapping and like, flicking and whatever, like, oh, you're the B Squad. Oh, well, you don't have anywhere to go but down kind of thing. So it's kind of like fun back and forth. But then these winning queens lure the pork chop girls into some shady talk. But I will say I was pretty impressed with the pork chop girls really not going there. They tried to be nice about it. Don't you think?
Yeah, they felt like they kind of like paused and they were like, how do we say this? Trying to be respectful, it seemed like.
Yeah.
And just like not sure what her perspective was or something like that. Just kind of vague. So it wasn't too bad when Elliot pops out and is like, oh, really?
Well, here I am. And they're all like, their faces are all kind of reading like, yeah, they're surprised. Some of them, like, I think Rose was a little bit like, should have known, like, of course you're still here. They feel like they got by the twist, and they should have known that nobody was going to go. But I don't think they really had any reason to be like all too much of like tail between your legs, because again, they didn't say anything that bad about Elliot. But Elliot is kind of like coming back and saying, well, y'all don't know anything about me. And I was the last one in the room, which is true. And like Kimora, already knew somebody. So like, I just I drew the short straw, in this situation. But now I have my first impression of you. And then Tamisha Iman is like, no, ma'am. Like, you are not, this was just, we had to do it. Okay. So don't try to paint this as though we're these like villains who tried to send you home. It had to be one of us.
Yeah. She's wonderful always. We've already discovered that. And it's so true in this episode as well. Love her so much. So Ru comes in and sort of sets us up for the episode. We've got a challenge where he has created the RuPaulmark Channel, which is just after my own heart.
I know.
So much. Love it. We've got 3 sort of movie plots that are basically the same for different holidays. It's so perfectly off of the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah.
And we're going to divide up so that we're acting in each of these little movies. We've seen these little skits before.
Yeah. Right. And RuPaul is saying, I mean, they normally we would have some kind of a mini challenge where team leaders would then be selected and they would pick their own teams. But the producers are like, we got to mix it up. We got to have like a balance of winning queens and pork chop queens, or that's what we want for this episode. So RuPaul has like assigned the teams. And so it's mostly like 2 winning queens and 2 pork chop queens per team, except for that one team that has the extra
5
person who is, you know, one of the quote unquote winning teams or winning
Which
queens.
is good. I'm glad it's mixed up because this whole like A squad, B squad thing's not gonna, it can't go too long.
No, I know. Let's get over it. Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, our holidays that we're honoring are Valentine's Day, Flag Day. I loved the title, God Loves Flags.
Oh, God Loves Flags.
That was so funny.
Yes. And April's Fool's Russian. Like, yes, they were fantastic. They were great. I love the scripts on all of them. They're hilarious. The characters, all of it was really, really good fodder. Real excited. And, you know, some of these queens claim to be actors. So interesting, you know, to see who actually was.
I know. And I thought it was interesting. I mean, you know, we'll get to Denali. There's a lot to talk about with Denali this episode. But, you know, she's saying like, oh, I've never acted before, but I want to show them that I'm capable of it. And I'm like, maybe you should have eased into it, because she was just like, I'll take the main character, and then is kind of like going through the script, and she's like, so okay, when you act and you're the lead, you have a lot of lines, I guess, and I was not expecting that.
Yeah, it is an interesting choice because, like, you can compare that to Kimora, who ends up playing a tree, and I think she picked that for a reason. I don't do a lot other than look gorgeous, so I'm going to play a tree, although I do think that also backfired on her, but it was probably going to backfire no matter what. But it's like, yeah, you really want to, you know, pay attention to the role that you're picking. But coming off of last week's episode, like, I think so highly of Denali. I'm like, girl, you got it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know. I did think this was going to be a thing where it's like, oh, I've never acted before, but I'm a natural, you know, just because we've seen her be really strong this season. So, you know, a little bit of foreshadowing there, but I wasn't necessarily expecting it to like go the opposite way, you know? Then we've got someone like Candy, who fully understands play to your strengths, and she just picks the character that is exactly who she is. Like, there's no acting here. She's just being Candy Muse.
100%. It was the smallest role, and she just blows up into Candy for a moment, and she gets rewarded for it. And I'm kind of confused by it, but we'll circle back to that. CJ, that's part of the joke. All of these movies are the same plot.
They're all the same.
Interchange the people and the town and the factory.
Right. I kind of missed the acknowledgement that all of the skits were the same, because, you know, Ru comes in to meet with each of the groups. And I will note here that Ru was set up at one table, and all of the teams were coming to that table rather than Ru going around the room. And I wondered if that was like a COVID thing or something. But I kind of missed when Ru said there, as he's, you know, speaking with each of the teams, like, did you notice that the scripts aren't all that different? So when they finally came, that kind of took me a while to kind of get it. But you're right. Like, that's the thing with Hallmark movies, is the scripts are largely the same.
Girl lives in big city, goes back home, finds her high school sweetheart, and she moves back home. Like, it's always the same. And I love it. And so thank you for this. When we are picking our characters and we're rehearsing with Ross, love Ross, love him in this role of like director, coach. And he truly loves it when it's great, and he's truly annoyed when it's not.
Truly annoyed. Like, and especially annoyed with Kimora when he's literally giving Kimora a line reading, like, say it like this, which directors, you know, often try not to do, because they want to like help you just find it on your own, you know, as like a creative actor. You know, the director's like, I'm going to get you to say it this way that I want you to, but I want you to feel like you got there on your own. But Ross is like, you're emphasizing the wrong thing, and he's saying it exactly as Kimora needs to say it, and she still can't get it. And he's very much like, I don't know what else to say to this woman.
I don't know what to do. Yeah.
She can't even hear the way I'm saying it. Yeah.
I was rooting for us. I was rooting for us.
I was rooting for us.
I mean, am I not saying it right? Like, she could not hear it. It was hilarious. I loved it. Yes, but before that, Adrian, you are correct. This moment.
Yes, I was going to circle back.
Utica. What? This is why we stan Utica. What natural comedic gifts.
Yes, right. Just like everything was timed so well, straight to camera and then not to camera when it needed to be. Ru is like dying. I don't know that I've ever heard RuPaul laugh this hard on this show.
For that long.
Yeah, exactly. And RuPaul loves to laugh. Like, I will say that I think RuPaul's laugh is a big reason why this show is so successful, because like it's a great, very distinct laugh. It's in all of the like bumpers in and out of commercial break. And then they pepper it into lip syncs and performances. And it just like brings the energy of the show up. And to hear her screaming, laughing like this, I was like, this is incredible. And I was laughing too, because Utica was so hilarious.
I think that you just described our show. Your laugh is what makes our show.
Wow.
Anything.
That is quite a comparison. Thank you.
Yes. We just realized this is it. Yep.
Yeah.
That moment with Utica was amazing, and Ru laugh was so fantastic. So yeah, we see that Kimora, bless her heart, is just a pretty face and can't even do a line reading.
And I will say, Tamisha was also struggling a little bit. Like, we got a preview of that where Ru was like, give me your share. And she was like, that's not really share. But then Ross, she was one who was kind of able to take direction. Like, initially she's like, how funny can a woe be? And then Ross kind of gets her there. And I hope her eyes were opened a little bit. Again, like, she's kind of getting the same note over and over again. And I really want it to sink in, where it's like, you just need to make things bigger than you think. Like, make it huge, So she got there eventually.
Though. She's just so classy. But she takes great direction. Like, she wasn't nailing the share right away, but Ross is like, more, longer, and like she comes up with fun things like just like down. And by the time we get to watch it, phenomenal.
It's great. Yeah, exactly. Like, all of her best moments, made it into the final cut of that thing, and she looked really good. So good for her to be able to take direction. Joey is another one that was kind of struggling.
Nervous. Yeah. Lala Ree, just not an actor. Like,
no.
I mean, your straight to camera stuff, gold. But script.
She's better at being herself. Like, she is such a character, but then like playing somebody else is not her strength. Utica was also kind of a flop for me in her character.
I'm just going to need you to not ever say that ever again, David. What?
Did you like her performance?
You just like came at me with that, and I was not prepared.
I just slapped you across the face with it.
Like, I think Utica like stumbled at the beginning, but nailed it. Got no problems with Utica being high, whatever the heck that was. I don't know what that character was.
Okay, I think we saw slightly different edits there, but okay.
It happens. It's true.
Yeah. And Denali struggles in the rehearsal, but I don't know. It's not as bad as I think they thought it was.
They seem to hate Denali's performance. I quite enjoyed Denali's performance. Was Denali the star? No. Other people outshined. But I thought Denali was very entertaining. I don't know.
I thought there were other people who were much worse. But yeah, so that's kind of, I mean, Simone is shining, Rosé is shining. Like, these are, Simone is one who, when they're filming with Ross, Rosé is like, hold on a second. You were like a little misquiet in rehearsal, and now you're coming alive. Okay. Because again, these are like moments where they're kind of first seeing each other.
Yes.
In these different scenarios. And so Rosé's like, oh, you're not quite who I thought you were. You're a more serious threat. And Simone is. So Rosé's clocking it for sure.
Wake up. Hello.
Yeah.
Wake up and smell the Simone. It's happening. Okay. So now we're going to go back. That was just, working with Ross. And we're going to go back to the workroom, and we're going to chitty chat, and we're going to learn more about each other. And what we're discovering is that Candy, Tina, and Gottmik are BFFs.
Yeah. whatever their crew is called. I forget what they said, but they kind of like just click. They've got a, certain
Something about
energy.
Shady Sisters, something like that.
Sure.
Shade
Yeah.
Queen, something.
And they're also bonding over Candy not being able to finish her own looks. And so Gottmik and Tina are there to kind of help her adjust. Now, did you get a sense of what was going on here? Like, I don't understand why she needed to adjust the gown.
No, it seemed so set up because who is it? Who walks over?
Elliot. Yeah, it was very produced. Elliot walks over and is like, "What are you up to?" And they're like, "Well, blah, blah, blah."
And they're like, "Here you go, all done." And Candy's like, "Great, fixed it up like new." And I was like, "Wait, what happened here? Did something get edited out that she ripped this dress or something? Like, what did we miss?" But they must have just been like, "We got to get them all together to like make a package out of them being Shade Sisters or whatever they are." I don't know. It was very weird and confusing, but anyway, they're all great together.
Right. And then they're, in the mirrors getting ready, and Simone tells her story of her first time in drag at prom and her experience going to prom in drag in Arkansas. I feel is very anomalous. Like, I can't believe that is always the reception, but she got a very good reception in drag at prom.
What a story. Yeah. And several people are like, "Were you scared? Like, that sounds terrible." And she was like, "No, that was it. This was amazing." Vice principal was like, "Yeah, get it on," like whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really great story.
Yeah, and nice to hear her say, like, any fear that Reggie had, Simone didn't. And that is a recurring kind of idea that we hear about with these drag personas. So like, cool to hear that once more with Simone. Like, when they get into drag, you think that they're like super vulnerable, but they almost feel like superheroes and like they can do anything, and that's obviously how she felt going to prom. So that was a really sweet story. Then Tamisha talks about her kids again. Now, Sarah, her kids are 33 and 35.
Yes.
What?
Yes. It's bonkers. But actually, when she was like doing the timeline, she had them as a teenager. Like, so
because she's only 49.
Oh, she's only 49. Oh,
that's what she said.
So
one of her oldest, she was 14 when she had her oldest. Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah. She's like this whole like long journey. And she was like, "So I was 20 when I first did drag." And I was like, "Wait a minute, 20 is still kind of young." Yes. You had already gone through having a couple different kids with a couple different baby mamas.
Yeah.
Then found out you were gay and started doing drag. Like, it was like quite a journey. And she's like, "At 20. And I was like, "Wait, shoot."
Yeah, I know.
Plenty of 20-year-olds are still figuring out their life.
Yes. Right.
Like, wow.
But you can tell like how much the producers, and I feel like, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think RuPaul's obsessed with Tamisha Iwan. They are really giving her a spotlight in a way that we don't always get. Like, oftentimes you'll hear these backstory things when they're either going to win or they're going to go home, because the producers are like, "We got to get this in because we don't have any other choice." But Tamisha keeps getting little segments like this. Maybe it's just because she has such an incredible history in drag and she's older and she has like way more life to talk about, but I'm just loving every second we're getting with Tamisha.
Yes. I hope it's like every episode we just give her some nuggets, because she's had this whole career that deserves it.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
She deserves that. Okay. So are we going to hear about her kids every episode? Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our looks that we're going to go to is Trains for Days.
Trains for Days. Yes. This is a fun theme that I'm like trying to rack my brain and think, in the history of Drag Race, have we had this runway theme before? And I'm sure there's been something, but like this one was super fun to me. Like, I really enjoyed that. There's just so much drama with the train, and look at Denali. This is incredible.
At Denali, you guys. Yeah, I love the theme train, because I do think that that's something fun that you can do a lot of different things with. And she comes up with this. Oh, sorry. It is a specific bird that is important to her culture.
Yes.
So I apologize.
I mean, it's hard to pronounce. It's like Wetchdecottl or something like that. I apologize for mispronouncing. Yeah, but it's this it's like a bird, but also kind of like a mythical character in like Mesoamerican culture.
I
I know
mean,
that
this
it kind of
mohawk
has,
wig.
yes, which is like also inspired by the bird. It has like a tuft, on the top of its head. This is
This
stunning.
stunning. This train of feathers. Like if it's trains and this is what you come out with,
yeah.
hello.
Hello.
Yes.
And the
I
makeup like
love it.
ties in
Oh, the
with the
makeup.
colors in the train and the bodysuit. Like this is just so polished to me. I love it.
I loved it too. And this is where I start to get real confused on the bottom too. I
Yeah.
have spoiler alert, I have issue with the bottom too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
Mm-hmm.
that Denali is just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah.
Two
So
is
who was
Olivia.
next? Olivia. Another. I thought this was. I mean, it doesn't give me the like sit back in my seat
Right.
gasp that
Yeah.
Denali's did, but like this is also stunning, and I think that this fits with Olivia's drag style. Like it's a nod to classical composers. We know that she plays the piano. Like this ties in with her drag persona.
Yeah, I agree. Did I go, oh, like I did that bird? But it's gorgeous. The touches of gold. It is very Baroque classical music, the white wig thing. Like it all just goes together in a gorgeous way. So yeah, I say amazing and props. Fantastic.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, she's a standout for me. And I have issue with her not being in the top 3, but we'll get there.
Agreed. Absolutely. Why wasn't she in the top? Okay.
Yeah.
Elliot is next.
This, I think, is the best Elliot has looked so far on this show.
Is Elliot the one that we were trying to figure out the drag perspective?
Yes. She had like the red sweater dress and then that black thing with the big feather plume coming out of the top of it. And this again, like, does it scream? She told us she was like soccer mom 80s, right? And
yeah,
I don't know, maybe it's a little bit 80s, but whatever it is, I think this is her best garment so far. And it just moves really beautifully.
It does. It's gorgeous. And this moment is when I realized what her drag perspective and persona is. It's Kris Jenner. She
Oh my God, you're right.
It's because I was like, is she trying to be like a real housewife? Like, what is it? It's like a dated mom.
Yes.
It's like a little bit of 80s, a little bit of 90s, because they're legit out of style. It's not because I want to like bring back some cool 80s moments. It's because I'm out of date.
And you know what I would say too? God, now you've got my wheels turning, Sarah. You've really struck on something. It's kind of like, this is going to come off rude maybe, but it's kind of like new money. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you've got money and you want to show that you have money. You want to look wealthy, but it's like a little like people who are actually wealthy. It's a little bit more subtle. I don't know. I'm just, okay. I'm now starting to get Elliot now that you have taken me there, Sarah, but I still think she looks gorgeous here. And I think that this bodysuit fits amazingly. The tulle, like I said, I love that train. This is my favorite look from her so far.
Yeah, agreed. Gorgeous. Well done.
Wow, you really blew my mind with that, Sarah. Well done.
Yeah. Okay, Kimora is next.
Okay.
And
amazing.
Three-headed dragon.
I thought this was so beautiful, in line with what you would expect from Kimora, but those dragon head shoulder pads,
that train.
Using the train as a continuation of, the idea of this garment, like it's the tail of this dragon is so clever. I mean, it's not brilliant by any means, but it's clever. I love the gold fan to go along with it. Her hair is so stylized and specific to this kind of, period in history or whatever it is. I just thought that this was stunning.
I mean, of course, she can wear anything, right? She's
Yeah.
gorgeous. The gold, the lines, the curves. I love if the thing is train and you give us like a dragon tail train. I mean, I think that that's super
Yeah.
fun and
Yes.
stunning. I mean, yeah, love it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She's gorgeous.
So beautiful.
Not surprised that she's going to come out looking absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay, Simone is next. And hello, winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Thank you. Thank you. Like
you
this
could hear
is
Lonnie Love gasp when she walked out.
Yes. Because like it's
incredible.
It's such a unique perspective here.
Yeah.
You know, to even like bring a do-rag into a look for Drag Race is like something we haven't really seen yet. And then for her to be like, oh, that's what I'm going to make my train. Everybody else is thinking my train starts at my waist and goes out from there. And she's starting it from the back of her head. And this is just like, it's hip hop, you know, the way the thing hangs off her attitude is perfect. And everybody's loving it.
Loving it. She took just like, it's a basic wardrobe staple. And she elevated it.
Yes.
I mean, gorgeous. The satiny with the corset. I mean, she always delivers such good attitude on the runway. I love watching her walk.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
the judges all were like,
done.
Yes,
like
amazing.
Yeah. And you know, this kind of, for me, I had a similar response to Simone as I had to Denali. Denali's more because it's like big and colorful and beautiful. And this one because it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you thought of that.
Yes, the creativity, but also like nailed the execution as well.
Yeah.
Awesome, Simone.
So good.
So good. Okay, Lala Ree should be next.
Yes. And I liked Lala Ree's. You know, this is like the second mask that we've seen from her. She had a little mask on her entrance look as well. And I thought it was like cute to incorporate that. I was a little bit like, is the makeup done underneath that mask? I hope. But I loved this print. I loved how there was a little bit of a reveal where she takes off part of the train and there's a smaller train underneath. I thought this was a really great look. And I think it maybe should have saved her from being in the bottom.
I think it did save her from being in the bottom. Yeah.
Oh, bottom two, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I love it. Like the chicness of the animal print, the snake skin, and the mask just kind of adds to that sort of, I don't know, mysterious, sneaky thing.
It's sort of like a Mortal Kombat fighter, you know, with the mask.
Yeah. And then she says, and I shed, and she sort of like draped it off and it became smaller. Yeah. I thought it was like, you know, is it as creative as the bird and Simone's? No, but it's so.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. Hot. It's so sexy.
And so well made and fits so well. Like I loved it.
I did too. Agreed. Okay.
Next up.
Utica. Oh, you guys.
Okay.
All right. You guys. Come on now. Hello.
Look at this.
Talk about gasp. Sarah fell over.
Yes.
Did everyone predict that Sarah was going to lose her mind over this look? I hope you all
thought
did.
of you immediately when I saw this because, like, you know, you and I grew up watching the Carol Burnett show. This is, of course, a reference to one of the most iconic skits from that show. And like, I just never, she walked out in this and I was like, oh my God, I never even thought that this would see the stage, the main stage of RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, what? So good.
Is everything for me. I was straight shook. I was so excited. And then of course Utica is like doing like ear, like she's all Carol Burnett and like she's on board because she gets a bit and I love it.
Yep.
There's the error. Hold on, I meant to pause. Anyway,
Yeah.
This you were told train, and you came up with the train of the curtain of a sketch from sketch comedy. And it's gorgeous. It's not sloppily done. She's got like this like satiny curtain and like the brocade dress under it. The makeup looks fantastic. The wig. So I mean, A+ for comedy, but also A+ for the look. Like it's great.
It's great. Yeah, she looks fantastic. I would say if I'm nitpicking, like it's a train challenge, not shoulders. I did not necessarily love the wig, but this just the fact that, like you say, they said make a train look, and this is what she thought of. Like, I love that. I love that.
I love it. Yeah. Okay, so some people are having issue. The train is not the focal point. I hear you. Okay. I get that. I get it. But this is the best thing I've ever seen ever in my entire life. So
yeah. To me, it's kind of like the train is starting. I get their point, I guess. Like this is the moment. But the train is starting from the curtain rod, just as the train is starting from, Simone's do-rag. So I don't know. I'm into it.
Okay, great. Thank you for fixing that for me, David. I appreciate that. Okay. Rosé, who also loves an 80s moment.
Okay, yeah, this kind of like this 80s moment makes me think like maybe Elliot should have worn this, They do have similar like tulle trains, the two of them. This is not my favorite. I don't know. It doesn't look that well made. I mean, it's not poorly made, but I don't like the fabric of the lapels. Just not.
I want to like this more. I really do. But I just feel like this was an 80s suit that Rosé had on hand and then added more of this loofah thing that we've already seen.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. We have seen that. We saw that in the sheer runway look for her. So I don't really totally get, aside from matching the color of the lapels, how this wig kind of fits in with this look. Like that wig feels like maybe Olivia could have worn it for her Baroque look.
Sure.
But it's
give me like a punk rock or a working girl wig. Like something like that. I don't know. Unfortunately, not really doing it for me there. Who's next? Got Mick is next.
Yeah, Got Mix for me was like fun that you thought of this like bedazzled leaf blower, but other than that, it's kind of just like fabric draped off. Yeah, well, it's like a hair dryer or something.
She was like creating a hair dryer,
yeah, she's creating her own, wind blown effect. I don't think that the execution of the wind blown effect was successful. And again, like it's just kind of fabric draped off of, a bra and panties for me. So I wasn't.
Kind of agree. Like not really a train just because your sheer fabric went off. Yes, actually, I did see this. Hunter's right. This was her sheer look because she had an incredible train conductor outfit.
Oh, I have seen this. Yeah. And then Tina came with the train conductor outfit and Gottmik changed course.
So Gottmik changed course. And I really wish that Gottmik had not changed course because first off, from the photo I saw, her train conductor is better than Tina Burner's.
Agreed.
But this one just does not. I mean, sure, it's fun. It's poppy colors. It's cute, but it's not killing it,
Yeah. Yeah. I did see Rosé tweeted like, oh, I also thought of a train conductor look. And then I thought somebody else is going to do this. And sure enough, she was right. 2 other queens did the train conductor look.
Sure enough, apparently that was the thought.
Yeah. When you tell them the theme is trains, people think literally.
Yeah. So
here we are.
Tina Burner's train conductor-y something, which I don't love. I don't know. Is this me?
I don't love it either. It's well executed. It looks I don't really know what to say about it. It's just not elevated for me. Like I guess it's like when I think of camp on Drag Race, the way I want to see it done is like a Manila Luzon. Like it's like elevated fashion camp. This is just like costumey, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly, because she does say I'm a camp queen, and so I want to be respectful, like if this is her camp look. But yeah, it just feels charactery to me. And when you line it, which is fun, it is fun. I love the train conductor. It's a train thing. I get it. But when you line her up next to these such cool looks, like it just doesn't match up. This is how
exactly. It's just kind of like when it's like this, you kind of look at it and you say, okay, I get it. But there's nothing that like kind of like takes you that extra step where it's like, oh, and I love this because I never would have thought of that. Like this, you look at this and you're like, yep, that's exactly what I probably would have thought of if somebody told me to do a train runway. And Tina did it. It looks great, but she kind of just like went with the first idea, and you maybe need to like add a couple more ideas to it.
Party City train
conductor. Yeah. Ooh, brutal Hunter. Yes.
Got Mix. Where did I see it?
I saw it on Twitter. Rose tweeted us a picture of Got Mix.
Got Mix might have posted it on her Instagram. I know I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah.
So it might have been on Got Mix and stuff. So it's out there.
Yeah.
If I see it, I'll post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay. That's Tina. So we have Joey next.
Okay.
Joey's got a wig on, y'all.
Yeah, it is a wig. I will say it's like it's a headpiece with a braid coming out of it. Okay. Again, braids are in. Everybody loves a long braid this season. This is she had an idea.
She did.
You know, she's like, I'll have a tongue coming out of the back. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm not stopped in my tracks by it.
That is a top lip and a tongue that's, I guess, pierced. That's a ball.
Tongue piercing.
Yep. Yeah, I think on when you're sitting there and you're like, okay, it's trains. How can I be creative? It's trains. And you're like, oh, like a long tongue is like a train. It's kind of a good idea, but then you see it walking down the runway and you're like, oh no, that's not.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't really pop on camera the way I think that she would have liked it to, you know?
Yeah. It was a little confusing for me. Like the lip looks just pasted on. Doesn't really organically go with the outfit. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't work for me. She did have fun whipping that hair. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not one of my faves.
No. What are you gonna do?
What are you going to do? Sorry, Joey.
But Joey, you're the trade of the season. So
yeah.
Just take that.
Yes.
Candy is next.
No, this is my least favorite look. I think I don't really even know. This is just like, it's just a gown with a train, and it's not even a particularly well-made gown. There's no like concept here to me.
There is zero concept, and it's not even a gown with a train. It's a corset.
You're right.
With a long piece of fabric that goes in the back, and it's an ill-fitted corset that is not. It's showing too much in both directions.
Yep.
It isn't fitting. They're like zooming in on the undergarments. They're like, just want to make sure everybody can see.
Can you see that? Yeah.
Like, I think Candy is stunning. Like, I love Candy's look, makeup, shape. Like, she nails an hourglass figure. Yeah. And I almost think she's just leaning on, kind of like Kimora, like just leans on being gorgeous. I kind of feel like Candy does the same thing. Leans on just her look and then being like a wild, loud crazy person.
Well, see, I would say like, this is not much of a look to lean on. I would say she's leaning on her personality. She's like, I'm loud, I'm fun, I'm over the top. And like the runway she has not really shined on the runway for me at all yet that I can think of.
No. And honestly, I thought that we had already seen this look on her, and I had to go back and look at her other looks, and it's not the same, but they're all red. She wore one purple cute little thingy, and everything else has been like a red dress. So it feels like we're just seeing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, it's like Tina Burner with like the orange and the red and the yellow, but Candy is just like red, 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 red. And you're right, Sebastian. It's just like, I think that's what we saw in the workroom. Maybe this didn't even have a train on it at all. And then she just had to pin on some loose fabric to make it,
Right. So earlier we were talking about like, what was this scene where they were like, let's fix Candy's dress. And so the story is this was Candy's finale dress. And she just was like, let me tack on a train? Is that what we're believing here?
That you would use your finale dress on the first week? I don't get that.
I don't either. And was that your best option, was just to attach a train on another dress?
But honestly, if this is your finale dress, good for you to use it now, because that would be a huge problem if you wore this in the finale, because it is not good.
It's not good. Oh, no. Oh, I feel bad, but no, it's not working for me. And this is why I have a problem with the bottom two, is because of that. So, okay, one more to go. Tamisha.
Yes, Tamisha Iman, another, Tamisha Iman original that she made. And again, like there's no like high concept here, but this is what a garment with a train that you have made yourself should look like. Like this is so well executed. Again, everything, I have a feeling everything we see on Tamisha Iman is going to fit absolutely perfectly. And this is no exception. And it's a beautiful color.
Yes. Gorgeous color, gorgeous shape. Again, not super creative, not high, but you love whatever she walks out in, and it looks so good. And if you're gonna just attach a train to something you already had, which I'm not saying she did, but if you're gonna, this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Not how Candy did it. This is the way to do it.
No, this is beautiful. Again, not like, I get the reference. No, it's just like a beautiful pink pant bodysuit thing with, this train that she is working perfectly in her runway walk. Just again, like classic drag.
Yeah. Great hair, great bow in the hair, great makeup.
Yeah.
All of it is fantastic. Yes. She's a glamorous queen, and I too am here for it.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Okay. So those are our looks.
Yes.
That we get to see on the runway. And then the judges are going to show the actual footage of the skits of the RuPaulmark Channel.
Right.
And so we get to see how it actually comes out. Do you have any standouts here for you?
So the first team was the Valentine's Day team, right?
Yeah, Misery Loves Company.
Right. And that was with Denali as Misery. And for me, this team, like, Olivia was the only one that stood out as actually good for me. Everybody else, I mean, Kimora was actively bad. And Denali and Elliot were kind of like fine to me. Yeah.
Is this the one with Kimora? Was that first up?
Wait, let me double check my notes here.
Yeah.
Yes, Kimora. Yeah.
So yeah, I wrote, like, I didn't mind Denali. Like, I'm like, okay, Denali's fine. Denali's good. Olivia was the star. Olivia's role, again, not as big as Denali's, but she killed it. Every line she had, every moment she had was really, really great. And then you get to Kimora and the tree, and you're just like, oh no.
Yeah. I think what
no saving that.
No, nothing whatsoever. I think what kind of was a bummer in Denali's performance is she didn't really infuse any kind of character into that character. She just kind of like, it was just straight business executive.
Mhm.
Simone played a similar role and Gottmik, and they both had a little bit more something, a little bit more flavor to their performance. She
Yeah.
just was like reading those words straight off the page, and that's what made
Yeah.
Olivia so fun to watch. She was playing more of a character, this like grandmother kind of
Yeah.
role, but she was adding a lot to it, and I really enjoyed watching Olivia.
Absolutely. And I was excited to see her be able to do that. I mean, she has shined at everything she's done. Like, she does not
Mhm.
fail. But like, I don't know how she's going to be at acting like a little old lady. Not
Yeah.
everyone can do that. And Olivia's like,
Yeah.
yes, I can. I can do everything.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Set me up.
And
I will
she
deliver.
she just like she gets the jokes that are in the script. Not that they're like super high-minded jokes, but we see other people like Kimora who are not getting the jokes, Like
Yeah.
Kimora understands that her line is a reference to what Tyra Banks is saying in America's Next Top Model, but she's failing to understand, okay, I need to say it the exact same way, and that's going to get the laugh. She's
Yeah.
not getting it. And Olivia understands how to get her laughs in the script.
Yes. And apparently Denali was missing her pop culture
Yeah,
references,
because that's
right?
the thing about these scripts. Yeah, like it's mostly voiceover and
Mhm.
it's lines that are structured to get a laugh because it's a reference to something or because it's a physical gag or whatever. So it's really all about which girls understand how to deliver the lines or the movement or the gag or whatever in order to get that laugh that is a cheap laugh, but apparently it's not that cheap in the case of Kimora because she can't figure it out.
Just literally can't do a line reading
Mhm.
whatsoever. But it was hilarious for us. Okay, the next one's your favorite title, God Loves Flags.
Yeah, that's right.
Solid title. So
Solid
good.
title. I thought Simone and Rose were both really strong in this, especially Simone. Like,
This one overall was actually really, really good.
mm,
Simone, amazing,
yeah,
insanely good, so hilarious. She was having so much fun with it. And then I thought the whole supporting cast was also good. Like, what,
okay.
you're loving Rose? Okay,
I loved
Lala,
Rose.
Lala was like not great,
Uh-uh.
but I loved Utica. Sorry, I have a blind spot for Utica. So I was like, this whole skit, it's amazing. This is fantastic.
It was the strongest overall, I think. Although Team 3 wasn't that bad. But to me,
It
Rose and
was.
Simone were so strong in their
Yes.
roles that I was like, yeah, it's great. It's super good. But
Yeah.
Lala, I just didn't like the look was
Lala
bad.
struggled.
The
Yeah.
performance was bad. She like when we say Denali read the words off the page, Lala really just read the words off the page. Like there was nothing there. So
Yeah. No. Okay, so the last one, the April Fool's Rush In.
mhm.
I didn't really think anyone stood out in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I thought from what I saw of Tina was good. She understood the references, she
Yeah.
delivered the lines to match the reference. Tamisha, again, we've already talked about her strongest share moments ended up in the cut, so she got the laugh
Yes.
she needed to. Candy,
Yes.
I didn't think was that funny. What did you think?
No. Okay, you guys. Yes, Candy. Okay, earlier, David, you already pointed out, like, Candy picked the character where she could just show up, walk in, and be Candy. But, like, it was just one line of being just being loud, right?
Mhm.
There wasn't I wouldn't say she picked a character. Like, Olivia got into a character, right?
Yeah.
Simone got
Mhm.
into a character.
Right.
Candy does, like, the low-hanging fruit, like, the easiest thing you can do is go, "And now say a line like this," and
Right.
everybody laughs, Like, that's
Right.
so one note that you're
Yeah.
not winning me over with that kinda stuff.
Yeah, it's just so who she is,
Yeah.
like that is who the character is. She's playing a character called Whoopee Cushion. So yeah, you're gonna come and you're gonna kick your legs to the side and make a fart joke or whatever it is.
Mhm.
But that just seems like a Candy Muse specialty. So the fact
Yeah.
that you're excelling in it doesn't really impress me. I don't know.
Yeah. It was yes, I definitely laughed in the moment, but I think what I'm talking about is when we get to the bottom 2 and I'm like, "Wait, that's what got you out of the bottom? That one loud line? Like,
Well, let's
that's
talk
it?"
about the critiques,
Okay,
shall we?
let's get
Because
there.
my impression is that Candy's in the top 3, and that makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
We've got Simone Rose, obviously in the top, right? And then we've got Candy and Lala. We're not sure maybe where they fall. And we've got Denali and Kimora, who obviously end up being our bottom 2.
Yes.
But to me, the critiques were more, it was like they focused more on the performance in the challenge to determine their tops and bottoms than they did on the runway looks. Because here we are with Candy Muse in the top, and they're saying like, oh, she was so good in the challenge. She's so funny. She's got such like a natural charisma. We love it. And I'm like, okay, but that look is bad.
Michelle basically ripped Candy and was like, no, this look, no, unacceptable. You never walk out with your undergarment showing. Like, I felt like Michelle schooled Candy. And so when I'm listening to all of them, I did not hear Candy being in the top. I heard Candy being in the bottom in my head. Because even though we can all say, yes, Candy is funny, like Candy is entertaining, let's keep her around. I still say you're in the bottom though, right? Like, was it 2 weeks ago when Ross was like, I don't care, I just want to keep her.
Yeah,
like we're still in the bottom, even though we're like, it's so fun though, let's keep her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so when I think it was in Untucked when Candy was like, I'm pretty sure I'm the top and so and so and so and so. And I was like, wait, what? No, you're not top.
Yeah.
You were in the top? I mean, she thinks she's in the top, but I did not think that.
Well, I only think that because the way this is usually structured is there's 6 and there's a top 3 and a bottom 3. And so based on the fact that they were like, hey, Lala Ree, like, wake up, signs of life. You really did nothing in that challenge. Your snake garment is gorgeous. I just kind of felt like Lala was in the bottom. But,
I think
I agree.
I think you're right. I'm just confused by that because yes, Lala Ree was like not great in the show, but like her runway was pretty darn good. Like I got no complaints about her runway.
I loved her runway. And like some of the safe queens, like Utica's runway look was so good, and her performance in the challenge
was so good.
But like maybe a combination of the look and the performance put her in the top over someone like Candy, because I didn't think her performance in the challenge was so strong that it overcome my least favorite look on the runway. Or a Tamisha, who again had a gorgeous train look and struggled in the challenge, but really got the laughs in the final edit, and that's what matters. Why wasn't she in the top? You know, I was confused why Candy was
100%. If you're telling me Candy was in the top, then I want to argue with you and say no. Olivia should have been in the top.
Yeah, Olivia.
Utica. Those are my 2 that I would like in the top.
Period.
Olivia.
It should have. Yes. Thank you for saying. Okay, Simone, Rose, and Olivia were my
Those
top
were the
3.
top.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. You can't argue. Like, no, Olivia for sure should have been in the top over Candy.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? How? Like Olivia nailed that performance, and it was more complex than Candy's.
Yes. And her look on the runway was miles better.
Miles. Yeah. So that's the first part that I'm confused. And then we get to the bottom 2 is Denali and Kimora. And obviously Kimora, but you're here to tell me that Denali is the bottom?
No.
Wow.
No, absolutely not.
No.
And I'm sorry, as much as I love Lala Ree, her look on the runway was not as good as Denali's, and her performance in the challenge was worse than Denali's. So Lala should have been lip syncing against Kimora and not Denali.
100% agree. And I love Lala Ree as well. And here's my theory, David. Because I think it should have been Kimora and Lala Ree, or Kimora and Candy. I think that Ru and Ru's crew knew they were going to get rid of Kimora. Kimora was the clear person going home. Okay. And if you put Denali in a lip sync next to Kimora, Kimora goes home. Hands down, everybody agrees. If you put Lala Ree next to Kimora in a lip sync, maybe you're opening the door or leaving that door open to like, which one do we get rid of? So I think that's just me telling myself something to make me feel better about why Denali is in the bottom 2.
Well, and also I think maybe, you know, the producers think about things like Denali and Kimora are both Chicago girls. So maybe there's some drama about them knowing each other and now having to compete against each other in a lip sync. And we didn't see a whole lot of that in the show, but in Untucked, there were moments of like, we love each other and I'm going to go out there, I'm going to give my all and you need to give it your all too. And they're kind of like, you know, building each other up. But there's like extra stakes, I think, in a lip sync where, you know, they're both sort of like hometown girls from the same place, you know. But
yeah, I didn't even realize that. I forgot about that.
Yeah, but this was no competition. Like this is
not.
This lit up the fandom. Yeah. Like people are still talking about this lip sync. It is gonna go down as one of the greats. Denali was ready for this.
Ready. It was a death sentence for the moment you said Denali and Kimora. I was like, rest in peace, Kimora. You are about to be murdered here. But yeah, Denali's like, hello, this is my third lip sync in 4 episodes. Let's go. Let me show you how it's done. And she did. She is an assassin. She kills.
Yes, she does. And the thing is, Denali was ready to lip sync in that gown, even if she didn't think she needed to. Kimora's gown was not lip sync ready. And that is a thing you have to think about. Whenever you make a runway look for this show, you've got to be ready to kill a lip sync in it. And Denali started by removing that train of ostrich feathers, and she is free to hit every single dance move in her arsenal. And she
did.
Stole the spotlight entirely. Kimora had nothing. Like, I don't know if you've seen, Sarah, this was a season 9 thing, so you probably didn't see it, but Trinity Taylor versus Charlie Hides. And Charlie Hides is one of the oldest drag queens to ever compete on the show. She's from London, and she has this whole thing of like, we don't lip sync in London, we sing live. And so she's kind of just standing there, bopping around. From the back of the stage, they're like, do something, Charlie. And that's how I felt about Kimora in this moment, because she's just standing there for so long because she can't move in the gown. But that's a mistake to like walk out in something that you can't lip sync in. There's always the possibility that you're gonna have to lip sync.
I'm not gonna blame it on the dress, because I think that Kimora was gonna do that anyway.
Yeah,
I think that's her style, because honestly, if you are lip syncing for your life, you pull the train up to your neck. Like whatever you have to do, wrap it around your waist. Like this moment, it does not matter what your train looks like anymore. Like even I've seen people ripping stuff off because you need to now be able to move. So I don't think Kimora was planning on doing anything other than, I am singing
looking
here
beautiful
for you. Like I think those are Kimora's moves, and that's the unfortunate part, because we all love her. What a lovely person, and she's stunning, but there's just not a lot of like pizzazz.
There's nothing. There's not even a whole lot of like face emoting. You know, maybe she's got filler or Botox or something, so her face doesn't move. But Denali's is a complete package of a lip sync. There's also a moment where there's like a steady cam following her around the stage. I was like, I've never seen this camera angle in a lip sync before. And she has this amazing moment where she points to the back of the stage at the other girls as the words to the song are, I'm going to be here till the end. And she's like letting all the girls know, like, I'm not going anywhere. And now you can see why. Like, I dare you to lip sync against me. It was such a moment. I loved it.
And she shouldn't. And if she is in the bottom again, I'm gonna write a petition. Like, this is unacceptable. I mean, it's just the upside is, you know, if she's lip syncing for her life, she's going to be just fine. She slays, but she doesn't need to be doing that every episode, you know?
No.
I need to see Candy lip sync for her life.
I would like to see that.
I would like it. I would like it.
So yes, I mean, long story.
If I have to, like, what does that matter what you're wearing? I would be down in my skivvies if I had to lip sync for my life, and I couldn't move.
Don't tell me like, oh, I paid so much for this dress and whatever. Like, you do what you got to do to stay on this show, because this is your ticket to fortunes if you can stay on RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, you got to do whatever you need to do to stick around, because the longer you're on this show, the more it's going to pay off. And you could replace that dress 10 times probably if you stay on the show long enough.
Yes. I mean, could Kimura like standing there being like beautiful while you're watching Denali just like tear it up. You're going like, this is it. So
you're done. Yeah.
What? You just watched, and at one point Denali like came over to her and was like, "You're lovely, but I'm winning." Like,
oh, Kimura, oh, you're so beautiful.
You are so beautiful.
Bye. Yeah. Sashay away, Kimura. Yeah. And that is like RuPaul immediately, like the song stops and RuPaul's like, Denali, Shantae, you stay. Like there's no drama here.
There's no pretending that we need to even think about this whatsoever. She's like, one of you was in the same spot the whole time, and one of you was like up, down, all around. Hello, here we go.
Right.
So yes, super sad to see Kimura go, but it just kind of makes sense at this point that she would be the first to go from what we've seen.
Yeah. So she's out. She, gets to walk away in a beautiful dress. But she is gone. And then our preview for next week is the ball challenge, which everybody loves this challenge. Everybody has to show 3 looks. It's going to be an epic runway. Sarah, we're going to have to figure out how to get through that next week with 36 looks to talk about from these girls. And now it looks like we're getting a narrative about Simone not being a sewer. So maybe this is one of Simone's low weeks, or they're just, trying to throw us for a loop.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about our fear that Simone is peaking too soon. She seems flawless right now, so maybe this is where she stumbles just slightly.
Yeah.
But I have faith that she's gonna pick it right
go
back
home
up
next week. Get out of here.
Get ready. Sarah and David lip sync. It's happening at some point.
Maybe for the finale.
That's right. Do something like that. Yeah. And so we assume someone will go next week. Like usual, we're back into a normal routine.
Yes.
And yeah, there's some middle of the road people. So I think one bad week will really send people out. I still stand by Simone and Denali being stars.
We'll see who else kind of like steps up. It honestly is feeling like Simone is just operating on another level.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is anybody going to step up? Who's going to step up to reach? Like, I do kind of feel like Denali could get there, but it's got to be the right challenge.
Yeah. Is this Candy versus Tamisha thing a real thing? Is this going to really?
It looks like, that's the preview. You never know with these previews, like they edit it to look a certain way, but Tamisha, we have seen, she is someone who will put you in your place. So, Candy's kind of like running her mouth about like, well, I thought Elliott should have been in the bottom. And I'm over here thinking like, well, I think Elliott should have placed higher than you in this week of the challenge. So maybe you're a little bit too big for your britches. And Tamisha feels the same. And she's like, I'm going to let you know, Candy.
Yeah.
What's what?
Yeah. I kind of like that Tamisha's like, I'll tell you a few things. I mean, Candy's also like, I'll tell you a few things.
Yeah.
But there's like gravitas behind when Tamisha tells you something.
No, it means something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. You guys, thank you so much for joining us live and chatting all the looks with us.
Yes.
Very
love
fun.
it when you join us live. But if you are joining us later, leave us a comment and let us know how you felt about this kind of placement of the queens this episode. Do you think Candy should have been in the top or somewhere else? What did you think of this lip sync? I assume we all just loved Denali, but if you didn't, I'd love to hear it.
I would love to hear it. Yeah, we do watch Untucked and we kind of slip it in a little bit. We don't like dwell
not
on
a full
it.
review.
But we get the vibe. We get the vibe of what's happening with these queens. All right, you guys, we will be back tomorrow for a Bachelor. And then over on Patreon on Thursday, we're getting Survivor Micronesia started. So if you're a patron,
join us.
We'll see you over there for that. You guys, we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.